We've been getting a lot of questions about what it's really like to live in Manta.
In a previous video, we talked about why we chose Manta, but that was all the good stuff.
However, no place is perfect, so in this video, we're going to tell you the truth about Manta.
Before we dive in, if you're thinking about moving abroad, or if you just want to see what life is like in South America,
hit the subscribe button and ring the bell because we show you what it's like to live in Ecuador and we tell you what to do once you get here.
And now for the truth about Manta. And the first thing we want to talk about is, does Manta really smell?
Okay, well, we get this question a lot, actually, and Manta is a port city that specializes in tuna, and there are a lot of tuna factories. However, they're all on the northeast side of town, and the wind blows in off the Pacific from the west. So if you don't live on the northeast side of town, you don't smell the fish factories.
Yeah, we don't smell it where we live at all.
No, you don't. And we did notice it, though, when we got off of the airplane in the Manta airport. So be prepared for that when you step off of the plane. The whole city does not smell like that. There are some sewer problems, too, that the mayor has really been working hard to fix. Some of the areas around town, you'll be walking around a corner and you might get a really strong sewer smell. Yeah. We had the same problem in Denver. There was a corner that we avoided when we walked Daisy in uptown Denver because the sewer smell was so horrible. I just don't see that as being anything different here.
It has gotten better because when we first moved here, there were a couple areas that we would just know to hold our noses and hold our breath. But they have fixed those. Yeah, where most of the expats live, which is Murcielago and then south through Barbasquillo and that La Cuadra area, it's really not a problem. You might get a whiff of a sewer smell once in a while.
We got a comment on our Why We Chose Manta video about why we didn't talk about earthquakes. Well, we didn't choose Manta for the earthquakes because there are earthquakes here. We live on the Ring of Fire in Ecuador. So you're going to have earthquakes just like they do in Mexico and California and Alaska, all the way around this Ring of Fire known as Mother Nature trying to kill us all.
Okay, thanks for that, JP. But actually, we have experienced a lot of earthquakes since we've lived here in Manta, and a couple of them have been a bit strong.
Yeah, we feel them in our high-rise condo. It kind of sways a bit. It's a little nerve-wracking. There is a subduction zone fault that's like 25 miles off the coast, but most of the faults in Ecuador are in the Sierra and down through Guayaquil, so you're not living on a big crack in the earth here.
We felt earthquakes every area we've lived in. We didn't actually feel any in alone, but when we were staying in Villa de los Sueños in La Entrada, we felt a really strong earthquake there. That one actually got everybody out.
Yeah, out of the building.
Yes.
Yeah, but we felt several in Cuenca, and they have them in Quito. There's earthquakes all over. It is what it is.
Yeah, so it's kind of scary, but
it's just another one of Mother Nature's things. I grew up in Tornado Alley. A lot of people live in hurricane zones and volcanoes and droughts, fires. I mean, there's all kinds of natural disaster issues in the world, and these condos that we live in are built to earthquake standards. They're nice, they're very sturdy, so we don't worry about our building or anything, but it's still nerve-wracking to be at a high-rise when it's shaking.
It is. So if you're not a fan of earthquakes, then you probably don't want to live anywhere in the Ring of Fire, not just here in Manta.
That brings us to the next problem with Manta, and that is real estate availability. So back in 2016, there was a massive earthquake here that did a lot of damage. So a lot of the money that has been spent on infrastructure and development here was spent repairing that damage, which means they haven't broken ground on a lot of new condo buildings in the recent years. So there's a real shortage of available real estate.
Yeah, so if you want to live oceanfront, you're going to pay more money. That's just the bottom line. Yeah,
there is a high demand and a low supply, and in any sort of capitalist economy, that means the price goes up. So you're going to have to pay more for that. It still is cheaper, just even a block off of the beach, and further inland, you're going to find more options. But most of the expats come here, they want to live the beach life. They want to have a nice oceanfront condo with beach access, and there are just not a lot of them available right now. Riva de Mari is a new condo building. It's way behind schedule, so a lot of people have moved here expecting to move into their new condo. It's not ready yet, so they've had to rent short-term places, which has further decreased the supply. So we're hoping once that building is ready in the next month or two, that people will be moving in there and freeing up some more real estate.
Yeah, we were talking to Stella, who we featured in our affordable rental video, and she was saying that right now there just isn't a lot of affordable rentals. So it's a bit tricky. You can definitely find more options if you're willing to move a little bit outside of the Manta area.
All right, the next bad thing about Manta is that Murciélago Beach is not the best beach. It's probably the worst beach that we've seen in Ecuador.
Yeah, and I can't say it's that bad because it's still, the ocean views here are stunning. Mm-hmm. But for a beach in Ecuador, this is not our favorite. Manta has a lot of prettier ones that we've been able to see, which are just a short drive down the coast. So you can go to like San Lorenzo or Linguiqui or the ever popular Santa Marianita. Mm-hmm. But, you know, Murciélago, the port is right there on one side, and then part of the beach is pretty rocky. So you can't do those really long beach walks that we enjoyed in Alone. I think actually we were just really spoiled.
Yeah, we were.
We were really spoiled with the Alone beach.
Yeah, Crucita also has a nice beach in San Clemente, so those are north of Manta. Mm-hmm. And Manta has several beaches, but the main beach where all the tourists come to go to is just, it's not that big, so it's often crowded on the weekends and holidays, and it's not that deep either, and it's kind of tilted, and like Amelia said, there's lots of rocks, so you can't go walking for miles like we did in Alone.
But it is interesting because you can do a lot of people watching and watch all the port activities. Yeah. So if you like that sort of thing, then you're good.
It is neat to see like a skyscraper-sized ship going by our balcony. That is, I never get tired of seeing those.
Another issue with Manta is that it is super windy. So I guess maybe this is a good thing if you're really into kite surfing, because that is super popular here.
Yeah, sometimes we walk out of the building and it blows our hats off, and you have to lean into the wind as you're walking down the sidewalk. Dries your face out and your eyes. It is super windy.
Yeah, we could hear it howling through our windows. And oh my gosh, the other day the windshield washer guys were here.
Window washers.
Oh, I said windshield washers. Window washers were here, and they were standing out on the ledge washing without any safety equipment, and I was like, please, please, please do not let a massive wind gust come and blow those guys off. These guys are crazy.
Yeah, I didn't take any video because I couldn't stand to look at them. That made me physically sick to my stomach. I had to go in the other room because I thought for sure that they were going to get blown off of there.
I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing, but it was still scary to us.
Loco, que loco.
Manta is in a desert microclimate, so it is a lot drier here, especially compared to Alone. And that means there is not a lot of green space, and there's also not a lot of parks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mayor has a new project called Rivera, which means regreen, and he's planting a bunch of trees around town to help green things up a bit. But there's a couple small parks. Mm-hmm. There's really no place to go for long walks and green parks. We really miss that about Cuenca.
Yeah, so if you want to do that, you're going to have to get in your car and drive. You can go to Pacoche, though, and go to the rainforest, which is only 20 to 30 minutes away. So you do have some options, but not when you walk right out your door.
And despite it being in a desert microclimate, we are right on the ocean, so there is still some humidity. It's a lot less than what we had in Alone, so we thought it was really dry when we moved here. But then when we went to Cotacachi and came back to Manta, we realized it is humid here. It's just not as humid as what we had been used to.
Yeah, and we're experiencing a little bit of a rainy season here. The season is super short compared to what we had in Alone, but it has actually been humid. Today, my skin felt damp.
Yeah, it's been raining for the past week or so, most every day, and it's rained quite a bit. There's been water puddled up. It had not rained in 9 months that we have lived here up until this last week.
Yeah, we definitely needed it. So things are actually green right now.
Another thing that I personally do not like about Manta are the allergies. I really struggle here. I thought it was bad in Alone. I think it's worse here. I've taken an allergy pill every day. Sometimes I have to take one in the morning and one in the evening just to keep my eyes from swelling shut. And I think a lot of that has to do with the wind and maybe some of the stuff coming off the ocean. I'm not really sure what causes it, but I'm not the only one. We've heard from other people who've had allergy attacks when they come to visit here as well. So if you have issues with allergies, bring your pills.
Yeah, for me, it actually hasn't been that bad, but I have my moments, I guess. I don't know. I can't really comment on this one.
No, Amelia, she's so healthy. There's nothing ever wrong with her.
Oh, let's keep it that way.
I'm so envious. I guess it's the yin and the yang. sometimes it's just not fair.
Oh. There are not as many English speakers here in Manta as there are in Cuenca, and that's why we always tell people start in Cuenca if you're new to Ecuador and you're not fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, it can be difficult here, especially because they speak a really hard to understand version of Spanish. They have their own dialect here where they drop letters and they speak super fast. And then when I speak like regular Spanish, like what I learned in school, a lot of times they don't understand me because I'm not speaking the slang version.
Right.
And I always say it's a lot like going to the South in the United States where, they have that thick Southern accent in the deep South. And sometimes I have a hard time understanding them and vice versa. It's kind of the same here. They have their own dialect that they speak of Spanish here, and it's different.
Now, there are English-speaking service provider here, so you can be here and function without being fluent in Spanish because we still are not fluent. It's just a little more difficult.
Yeah, we speak enough Spanish to really get by pretty well now, and we can communicate with people. I wouldn't say that we're fluent. We can't have a philosophical debate with anyone yet. Hopefully at some point we will get to that. But, we also have English-speaking service providers that we can refer to you. So if you need some recommendations, we're happy to send introduction emails. We'll put a link below. Just tell us what you need and we'll send that email.
Another issue with Manta and with the coast of Ecuador is that there just isn't as much to do here unless you're really into water sports.
Yeah, you're not going to find a symphony orchestra or a lot of performing arts. There's not a lot of cultural activities or museums. So you're not going to have as big a variety of things to do.
There are expat meetups here, and there is a paddle ball place that seems to be really popular. There's a little bowling alley, and you can go over to Monte Cristi and play golf and do some other things, but there's not as much variety.
Yeah, certainly not like Cuenca, which is what I call the cruise ship of Ecuador. All right, we don't feel like this video would be complete without talking about crime, and we do live in a port city, so there is crime here.
Yes, there's crime everywhere, though, and we don't really feel like it's any worse here than any other place that we've lived in Ecuador.
Yeah, if you just avoid kind of the bad parts of town, and even those aren't that bad here, to be honest with you. We talked to our driver, Juan, and he said that Manta is a really safe city. He feels very safe here, and he's born and raised in Manta. So if you live where the expats live, it's very safe.
Yeah, we go out at night, and we walk, but we are home by like 8 o'clock. We're not late night people. I wouldn't walk by myself alone in the dark here, but I wouldn't walk by myself alone in the dark anywhere.
Yeah. So if you do go out late at night and party hard like it's 1999, I would take a cab home. All right, guys, I think that's all we have for this video. If you found it helpful, leave us a like, please.
Yes, please. We hope you have an unconventional day, and we will see you all in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.